if you listen to Pastor Mike, everything is about the community, serving the community, because number one, we serve God.
Sure.
And in serving God, we serve others. And you're all about serving others and giving. And the holiday seasons are coming up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who won't have the luxury of celebrating that holiday season. But also, too, because they're trying to keep up with how can I say this? Christmas has gone crazy.
Sure.
It used to, the Christmas, the 25th was about the birth of Jesus Christ. And you're going to tell us a little bit more about that. And then all of a sudden this little fat man comes in and he's got a red suit and he takes over his birthday party. And then this other religion comes in and takes over his birthday party.
Right.
Next thing you know, it's not about Christ anymore. It's about, or the birth of Christ. It's about how much can I buy? How much can I give? How can I outdo something? What happened? What is Christmas?
Yeah, it's funny because I think there's two extremes. One extreme is those who are, it's only about Jesus, and they might call him Satan Claus, right?
Yeah.
And then there's others that, well, it's all about Santa Claus and all this sort of stuff, and we don't ever talk about Jesus. I think there's room for both. And the reason being is Santa Claus is a representative of an actual person, Saint Nick. If you look up Saint Nick, he was a guy that loved and served. He wasn't perfect. He was just like all the rest of us. Most people don't realize, but if I understand the research correctly, we used to talk about Saint Nick, but we didn't have a picture in our head. From what I've researched, the picture that you now have in your head of this fat guy in a red suit with a big white beard was created by Coca-Cola as part of their advertising. Okay. So we have this scenario where this came in, and now we all have that ingrained in our head. But like in our house, no, we didn't have Santa Claus from the standpoint of Santa Claus is going to bring gifts and all this sort of stuff. We talked about there was a guy named Saint Nick, and the world has kind of blown that up into a different place that we don't go to necessarily. But I think you can say Santa Claus is a great thing when you represent who Saint Nick was and what he meant in serving. At the same time, one of the things that we did in our house is we didn't have a Christmas tree. We had a Jesse tree. So,
Jesse tree. What's a Jesse tree?
A Jesse tree is a Christmas tree, but all of the ornaments represent Bible stories. And you can get on and you can Google right now, Jesse tree, and you'll find all kinds of stuff on it. And so we created a little, and we have the kids make them out of construction paper. Here's a blue blob, and you put some white on it, and it's earth, right? God created the earth. And you actually can get online and Google, and it'll have stories for you to read with your kids. And so you can start the day after Thanksgiving, and every day do a story that leads up to Jesus coming into the world.
Oh, wow.
Well, now your Christmas tree, every time they look at the tree, oh, that's Daniel in the lion's den. Oh, that's because God created the earth. Oh, that's the serpent that came and deceived, Adam and Eve. And so I believe that I think we've gotten it overly commercialized, and we've made it all about this. And I don't think it's the healthiest thing necessarily to lie to our kids. You know what I mean? To talk about a guy and then one day go, never mind. I'm not sure that's the greatest idea, but I think you can incorporate and say, well, this celebration is because there was a man, but let me tell you about the man and who this story is really all about.
Yeah, so. And I get it. There's different religions and beliefs out there, and I respect them all. I'm not talking about that stuff.
Right.
What I'm talking about is the over-commercialization of the whole holiday. Yeah. And you're right, there was a Saint Nick, and because my wife had this, she had to really look it up, but there is also a Netflix one about, it was just a guy who made gifts and gave to other people, especially the poor. And then we looked him up, and I think he became a bishop afterwards.
Right.
So there was a Saint Nick, but he didn't have a sleigh, he didn't have flying reindeer.
No, that's been created, absolutely.
But he was made a saint by the Catholic Church, right? So Saint Nick. All these different religions, I got to try to remember everything.
Yeah.
But what happened was, because growing up, from Italy, the thing back then was baby Jesus brought you the gift. The other thing is on the 6th of January, it was the Befana, and the witch would bring you the gift as well. But we never talked about Santa Claus. But now if you go to Europe, Santa Claus is huge.
Sure.
Where before it used to be more about celebrating the birth of Christ. And it was funny because I spoke to you about this earlier. We have a 2-year-old girl. Now, my boys, I kind of, things, I don't know how they developed, but we never really focused. But Santa, we did mention it, but we talked about Christ's birthday too. We incorporated the two. But now I got this 2-year-old, and we really want to give her the true meaning. And a lot of people are struggling with this. You don't want to say there's no such thing as Santa.
Right.
Because then she's going to go to school and say, there's no such thing as Santa, and ruin it for everybody else. We don't want her to be that child, but we also want her to understand that this is the celebration and the birth of Christ. Because when I was decorating for Christmas, I said I'm decorating for Jesus' birthday party.
Right.
I don't know why that came to my head, but I that's what I told her. Now, too, they don't really understand, but I'm going to continue to tell her that.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay, I just have to make sure I got to check with the pastor. So I got to make sure I go the right way. So, but anyway, how can, or is there a way, like you said, the Jesse tree? Jesse tree. You notice I can't say my THs together to closest, but the Jesse tree.
Yes.
But also, too, when you're sitting down with your child and she's seeing Rudolph and Santa, I mean, that's all you see is those shows.
Yeah.
So, and it's everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So how do you have that discussion? Because she just ran into 3 Santa Claus walking down the block.
Yeah.
It's like, well, those are his helpers.
Yeah.
Well,
I wonder if it's not about, gosh, we're in such a cancel culture.
Yeah.
Right? Our mindset is just to cancel everything. And I wonder if it's not as much about canceling stories as it is getting back to priorities and meaning. Why can't they watch Rudolph and enjoy a fun, silly story, about a red-nosed reindeer, type of deal? But I think I would say it ties more, you said commercialization. I think it ties more into our gift giving or receiving. If we program a child from the beginning that you're going to wake up and it's going to look like Toys R Us threw up in the living room, what priority are we saying to them?
right.
Receive, receive, receive.
Yeah.
Right? And now it becomes I get, and now we're feeding a greed that can be in all of us. One of the things that I think is really key is maybe emphasizing the gift giving and how we serve. And the reason the world celebrates Santa Claus is because he was a giver, right? And Jesus was a giver. He gave his life for us. Right? That's what this is all about. And so I wonder if more of it is emphasizing the giving and receiving of gifts, how we do that, how over the top maybe we sometimes do that, and what is that teaching and what is that saying to our kids?
Should we get just rid of the gifts? I'm trying to save some money here. Can we just get rid of the gifts and go to the religious part? But you're right. It's gotten to the point, and I'm guilty of that with my 2 boys. Now they're older, and I have a 2-year-old, and I'm trying to limit that. Is I would try to fill that room, as like you said, make it a Toys R Us.
Yeah.
But yes, their expectations was getting higher and higher, and at one point, if they misbehaved, I had them donate their new toy to something because I overdid it, and I realized that was my fault. But the true meaning is, the exchange of gift, which came from, it could be a symbolization or is a symbolization of the gifts Christ gave us.
Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be, expensive. It doesn't have to be mountful. You don't have to go crazy. I think that even getting around with the family around the table and celebrating the birth of Christ and with a beautiful meal, like you said, a gift exchange, but enjoying family.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, serving one another, loving one another. That's really what this whole thing is about. And the commercialization just makes it a greedy thing that turns it towards me. I mean, it's back to wonder precedes the word. It's back to living a life of service. Jesus came to teach us how to serve. He picked up and put a towel on his arm and washed the disciples' feet. And that's what he's calling us to do. But the world's calling us to get more, be more, right?
Yeah.
Bigger, better, 2.0, 4.0, 100.0. And it's always about this expansion. And so I think we push back on stories. We argue on, Rudolph and whether kids should watch this or whether we should have Santa Claus or not have Santa Claus. I wonder if we should be focusing more on what is the messaging, and the messaging should be about service. Right? Are we giving and exchanging gifts? Are we gathering as a family in such a way as to say, we represent this time because Jesus was the ultimate gift and the ultimate server? How do we teach and sort of prescribe that scenario in each other's lives?
I like that. Y'all heard that, so don't expect any gifts from me. I'm just going to send you love.
I didn't say that. If he doesn't send you a gift, anyway. Yeah.
No, and I love giving gifts. People always ask me what I want. I want nothing.
Yeah.
But what can I give you?
Yeah.
Meaning, what do you need? How can I help you? How can I serve you? And I think if we get back more to that, because like you said, even in the last 5 years, and it's been happening for many years, but the last 5-6 years, it's got totally crazy.
Yeah.
And totally out of control. And even when you gift shop, people don't put any thought anymore. They just go on to Amazon and they click just to get it out of the way.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, they're in debt for thousands of dollars.
Right.
When that's not the meaning of Christmas, is to get in debt.
Yeah.
It's to serve. Even if you can't give a bunch of gifts, but even serving the gift of a meal.
Yeah.
You notice I love food.
Yeah.
So, but that's how we grew up. That was our gift to people.
Yeah.
Is food. Passing it across the fence to the neighbor, sharing, loving on one another.
Yeah.
We didn't, here, carry this box. This is for you. We spent a ton of money on it because when you did buy gifts when I was growing up, you would first open a gift and see how much they spent so that you can do the same thing in the envelope, which is silly. It's just an exchange of money instead of an exchange of love.
Correct.
Which I think goes, it took me many years to understand that.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys understand that too. And that you give from the heart and you give with love and not just because you feel you have to and go spend all this money.